Hi guys, welcome to sketch number 3 for my take on She's Crafty's mini paper pad series, although I am using full collections because that is the way I scrap. Let's hope we get through this voiceover. This is time number 5. I'm trying to record it without being interrupted. Let's see how far we get. I'm starting with Summer Lights from Pink Paisley. I have 2 sheets of 12 by 12 and the 6 by 6 paper pad. I feel like I think I've said this before in my intro video. I feel like I've made 800 pages out of this collection. I did only have 2 or 3 pieces of the 12 by 12, but I still have tons of the 6 by 6 left as well. I know I did many of our photos from summer before last with this. So at the end of this, it may go in the donate pile. But right now what I'm doing is I'm cutting 6 by 6 pieces into 1/2 inch strips. I didn't like either of the 12 by 12s I had for matting my black. So what I do is I take the 6 by 6, cut it into 1/2 inch pieces, and then use a 1/4 inch score tape, run it right along the edge of the piece that you have cut down. And then I take the 1/2 inch pieces and I put them right at the inside edge of the 1/4 inch tape. So a 1/4 inch of it is adhered down, and a 1/4 inch of it is sticking out. So, and I cut a 1/2 inch off my paper. So that way there's no additional measuring or trying to get these strips on exactly straight. It's easy peasy. It also, obviously helps you use your 6 by 6 up, and you can, not have to buy 12 by 12, the full 12 by 12 collection if there's, things you're not so crazy about, or you're not sure you're going to be crazy about. So you don't have to make that big investment. So I adhered all those strips on, and now I'm going to put my 3 by 4 photos that I'm making into a 4 by 6 on a 4 by 6 piece of cardstock, just to make them easier to move around my layout as I am creating. Since I am going to be using, tiny squares per the sketch, I know myself, and if I had 2 3 by 4s, it would just be one more chance for me to knock the little squares around the page as I was designing. So here I am cutting my squares, trying to make sure they're as even as possible. I do add, I believe, an extra row of squares to the sketch since I wasn't using that big title and journaling spot. I will say one of the reasons I wanted to do this class was to use up some of my supplies. I know I've mentioned my goal this year is to use or kill more collections than I buy. So far I'm completely even. I have killed one and purchased one. I saw the Hip Kit Club for March. I've never purchased anything from them. But it just spoke to me this month, and I walked away, and then I came back and looked at it, and I walked away. So finally I gave in and went ahead and ordered that. But I didn't do so good, even though a lot of paper is used on this layout. I didn't do so good using things up, so to speak, because I used 2 full 6 by 6 pieces, and the rest that I did, that I used were scraps. But it's still getting something used, right? Even if they're scraps, you're getting collections on paper rather than sitting in however you choose to store your paper. I'm going to start laying these out, and at first I went in a pattern of back and forth. So the colors went out and then they came back. But after I put them all down and put my photo on there, I wasn't so fond of how the middle section was. It was just one big grid, the cloud-looking paper that I don't attach, yeah, so that any of the clouds are facing like clouds would. I always struggle with papers like that. I'm like, I don't know what to use cloud paper on. So I just used it, upside down, so to speak, or sideways, so that maybe it doesn't look so cloud-like. But you see how the purple and the clouds are just there, alternating with each other. So I abandoned the pattern and just started moving things around so that they were a little more spaced out, for lack of a better term. So I am going to ink the edges on these. I believe I use Picked Raspberry from Tim Holtz. Yep, it's still sitting here. So, yep, that's the one I used. Again, I don't make you sit and watch me ink everything. I'm sure you guys know how to do that by now. I also attached Sukwang tape, which is score tape. It's the company who makes it, on the back. I thought that would be better than trying to do a little dab of ATG on every square. I also, at this point, hadn't fixed my liquid glue situation with all of my clogged nozzles. That is now fixed, thank goodness. So I couldn't just use a dab of liquid glue. But I do a combination for when I do a grid layout like this. I know I should be measuring every little thing, but I just can't do it. It's not my greatest forte, and it's too time consuming. So I just do my best. I do use my T-ruler as a guide, but I do my best. I check a couple times. I use it across the top, but I don't agonize about every eighth of an inch. I mean, unless it's a really big difference, I don't think you're going to notice one little eighth of an inch. So now that they are all attached down, I'm going to mat my photos, which was not called for in this sketch, but I feel like with so many busy pattern papers that it needed something to stand out a little bit. And the sketch does call for some of the smaller photos to overlap the bigger photo. So I didn't want to put it up on Fun Foam in case I ended up doing that and then having to, stack double Fun Foam to get the smaller picture above the bigger picture. So I used my pattern paper to differentiate it from the background. I do not end up overlapping my photos. I have felt like the smaller photos, since these are busier, they're us of tongue-tied. They're of us at one of our favorite restaurants on vacation. You can sit on the roof and see the main street in town, and we love to do that every year. The kids even wanted to go when we went in the winter, and they were all disappointed we couldn't sit on the roof in the middle of November. But since the photos are busier, since, obviously there's other tables and, restaurant decorations, I felt like when I overlapped the small photos on top of the big ones, they just got lost. So you'll see me move them around. See, I feel like you didn't see the kids. And then I felt like, if I put one kid close to us and one kid far away, somebody will notice that. One of my kids will notice that. They are very observant of stuff like that. So they both got put by the food. It's my big one's favorite thing anyway. My little one could care less if she ever ate again, but my big one's very interested in his food. So I went to put a white border around the layout. I felt like it just needed something white around the edge. And all of my Uniball white pens have gone dry before I could do, I'd say, 3 layouts with them. So I ended up using a very old and still good, surprisingly, Jelly Roll pen. It's Sakura. So obviously I don't know how long this will last since it's super, super old. So if you have a suggestion for white pens for black paper, please let me know. I did use Dylusion's white linen for my splatters. That's my favorite white ink spray because for me it stays pretty white on the black paper. If you have one that you like, let us know what it is down below because maybe it'll be more available to others than the Dylusions where they are. That way they have some choices. But now I'm going to work on embellishments. Always the longest part of my creative process. I have listened to countless YouTube videos and podcasts on embellishment clusters and using embellishments, and I have been scrapbooking avidly for about 10 years, and it is still the hardest part of my design process. So tell me your biggest tips and or tricks for getting your embellishments on the page in a quick and efficient fashion. So I end up just using that chillin', chillin', chillin' as my title because, again, I'm trying to use up the collection and using embellishments is part of that. But also I didn't have a real creative title for, hey, we went to dinner at Cooter Brown's on vacation like we do every year. So I thought that was perfect because we were just chilling on the roof, having some good food, having my husband and I had a beverage, and sure we let the kids have a soda or, a juice since we were on vacation. But it fit pretty well and got a piece of the ephemera pack used up. But I'm doing pop dots on some of the elements, like the sunglasses and the seashell in the corner have pop dots on them. The chipboard Oh Snap does not, the seashell does not. Since they were chipboard, they were, thick enough. I am drawing some dashes around some of the boxes for an added detail. I felt like it needed something more, but not necessarily more embellishments, because like I said, with all these patterns and colors and then all the pictures, it was rather busy. But the dashes around some of the boxes was just perfect. It was the something it needed without being overwhelming. And I just used a Sharpie pen that I had laying around for that. Nothing special for my black. Whatever's here is what I use. Pens tend to grow legs and walk around here. But other than that, the only thing I think I'm going to add further is my Nuvo drops. I love having the choice of those in all different colors and being able to make my own sizes. I know I used Liquid Mercury, that's a gray. I used Simply White, Calming Aqua, Caribbean Ocean, and the pink one that I used is discontinued. So I don't, even if I told you what it was, you might be able to find it, but not for long. I can't get any more either, and I've been looking. But other than that, that's it for the layout. Not a whole lot of journaling. I just put where we were and the date on one of the squares so that the kids can look back and know, how old they were. But other than that, I'm pretty well done. I can't wait to start sketch number 4. I'd love to know, if you're doing this, leave me a link down below so I can come see what you've created. And I hope to be back with you soon, guys. Thanks.